All right, welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful, let's call it a framework, for using language as a creative force. And look, this isn't just positive thinking. This is about understanding the actual mechanics, the physics of how your words literally build the world around you.
So let's just start with this quote because, wow, it really gets right to the heart of everything. You see, we've all been taught that words just describe things, right? Well, that might be the biggest illusion we're all living under. We're going to completely take that idea apart and show you that every word you speak is actually an act of programming.
So I want you to think of this less like some abstract philosophy class and more like an instruction manual. Yeah, this is the user guide for the most powerful piece of tech you will ever own. Your own voice.
Okay, let's get into the first big idea here. You know, for thousands of years, ancient cultures totally got this. They knew that language wasn't just for describing stuff, it was for creating stuff. It was an active force, literally, a spell that could shape the world. Somehow, we've kind of forgotten this power. We treat our words like cheap tools. But that power, it's still there, just waiting for us to pick it back up. All right, this is the core concept. You've got to let this one sink in. It's called the generative principle. And what it does is it flips a switch. You go from just being a commentator on your own life to being the actual architect of it. I mean, think about it. A manager says, this deadline is impossible. Boom. In that one moment, they've just slammed the door on every possible solution. But what if they ask, okay, team, how do we make this possible? See, that simple change in language just blew the doors wide open to a whole new set of possibilities. That's the generative act right there.
Okay, I know this might sound a little out there, a little radical, but what's so wild is that this is not some new age idea. This exact same principle, it just keeps popping up again and again across thousands of years of history and even in some of the most advanced science we have today.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. On the left, you've got ancient wisdom. They saw symbols, runes, hieroglyphs as actual active forces. Take ancient Hebrew, for instance. The word dabar means both word and thing, or event. There was literally no difference between saying something and it being that thing. Now jump over to the right, modern science. Physics talks about a participatory universe where just observing something changes it. Psychology shows us how language frames our perception. And with AI, come on, our language literally generates a digital reality right from a prompt. It's the exact same mechanism, just with a different coat of paint.
And here's the kicker. From a physicist, John Archibald Wheeler, a guy who helped develop the atomic bomb. This guy wasn't some mystic. He was one of the giants of 20th century physics. And what his work suggests is that reality is basically this giant ocean of possibilities until an observer comes along and, click, locks one outcome into place. So you have to ask yourself, what is language, if not a constant, super-focused form of observation?
Okay, so if our words are that powerful, how does it actually work? Like, what's the mechanism? How does the stuff we say without even thinking trap us in these cycles we hate? Well, this framework, what we call the reality fixation loop, it breaks the whole process down step by step.
So let's get really specific here. How are the words you're using every single day totally on autopilot actually building the prison walls of the life you're in right now? Let's crack the code.
All right, this is it. This is the loop. Let's walk through it with a really common one. I'm always broke. Okay, step one. You say, I am broke. Your subconscious doesn't hear that as a temporary situation. It hears it as a command, an identity. It's like, okay, got it. Identity, broke. Step two. Now your brain goes to work. Its job is to find evidence that you're right. It starts filtering reality. It notices the unexpected bill. It focuses on the thing you can't afford. It ignores any opportunities. Step three. All that focused attention on being broke essentially pulls that specific reality out of all the infinite possibilities and makes it solid. Your collapsing probability. Step four. You say it over and over. To your friends, to yourself. Can't afford it, I'm broke. Repetition hardens this reality. It goes from a thought to a belief to just the way things are. And then, step five. The end of the month comes, money's tight, and you say, see, I told you I'm always broke. You use the result as proof, which just fires up the whole loop all over again. And this loop, this invisible prison, it runs for everything. Your health, your relationships, your career, you name it.
Okay, so now that you can see the prison, the good news is I've got the keys to get you out. We're done with the problem, now we're talking about the solution. These are the three main tools in your creator's toolkit. This is how you take back control of that loop and start building consciously.
First up,
And this is the big one, is invocation. You have to understand, the phrase I am is not a description of what is. It's a creative command for what shall be. Every time you say I am, you are literally performing an invocation. You're installing a new identity for your subconscious to build reality around. It's the root command of your entire operating system.
Okay, tool number 2, repetition. See, a single command is just a suggestion, but 1,000 commands, that becomes an identity. Repetition is the engine. It's what takes a choice you make one time and, through practice, grinds it into your subconscious until it's an automatic, stable, lived reality.
And the third tool, which might surprise you, is silence. Now, this isn't just about not talking. It's a highly advanced strategy. Think about it. Every time you speak, you're collapsing possibilities, you're defining things, you're locking them in. So by strategically choosing silence, you're keeping that field of potential open and fluid. You're giving space for new, better, unexpected outcomes to show up, without boxing them in too early with your words.
All right, so we've got the core principles. We've got the tools. Now, let's get to the blueprint. Let's put it all together into some clear, actionable steps, protocols you can use to become a master of your own generative language. Here are 4 core protocols you can literally start using the second this is over. First, the 48-hour speech audit. For the next 2 days, just be a fly on the wall of your own mind. Write down every single limiting statement you say or think. I can't. It's impossible. I'm always. No judgment. Just observe the code you're currently running. Second, the immediate interrupt. The moment you catch yourself saying something limiting, like, this is too hard, stop. Literally stop mid-sentence if you have to. And then reframe it. Not, this is hard, but I am figuring out how to master this. You're turning a brick wall into a staircase. Third, morning declarations. Before you even look at your phone, before the world gets its hooks in you, you issue your commands for the day. Calmly, in the present tense. I am focused. I am creative. I attract opportunities. You're setting the physics for the day ahead. And number 4, qualifier elimination. I want you to go on a word diet. Get rid of weak, wishy-washy words like try, hope, maybe. Instead of I'll try to get it done, it's I will get it done. Speak with authority. Speak like you know your programming reality.
And look, this isn't just for your personal life. This is a high-performance framework for professionals. Let's take a super relevant example. Working with generative AI. You know, a lazy prompt like write a story about a wizard is going to get you a boring, generic result. But when you use this codex, prompting becomes a ritual, a deliberate act of creation. First, you set your intention. What do you really want? A thrilling, unique story that grips the reader? Then the prompt itself is an invocation. You define the parameters, 1,200 words, dark fantasy. You invoke an atmosphere, in the style of Neil Gaiman. You direct a task with precision, focus on the wizard's inner moral conflict. And you specify the outcome, end with a shocking plot twist. You see, every single word is a command. It's like coding. This intentional, structured language is exactly how you command excellence, whether you're talking to a person or a machine.
So here's the bottom line. That unconscious programming that's been running your life, it's not unconscious anymore. You can see it now. And that means you are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a passive observer. You are the architect. And the truth is, you always have been. So the only question left is, now that you know the power you hold in every single word you speak, what are you going to build? What reality will you command next?